Welcome back to our weekly energy talk. My name is Jona Bryndis and I'm airing here from Skype Live. If you're watching this on YouTube, please look at the description how to get to our live threads. Yeah, it's basically Skype instead of Zoom here every Wednesday. And I report and discuss energetic topics with energetically sensitives and empaths, but also with anybody who is feeling these impulses for going a little deeper, for exploring the secrets of life and understanding spiritual concepts in a more systematic, not so new agey way. All right. So today's topic, as announced here in the transCODES event calendar, is connecting with nature. And this is a whole series for this month because in these impulses that we've received here in these last weeks were very important, I don't want to say messages or signs because that makes it all mystical again, but were very important sort of activations in us. We want to go out more, we want to spend more time and connect with people, with nature, with animals, with children. Different priority maybe for you, but there's something about that I would like to explore with you, namely what it is that you can connect with most intuitively and what it does to you when you do connect. Yeah, and how you do it. So let me ask you, since the topic today is about nature connection or connecting with nature, who of you feels this as something like a desire or a need almost to go out more, to connect more with plants, with anything that you would call nature, or to bring it closer to you? So you see, I am reporting from my outdoor healing tent. I'm surrounded by plants, and even though it creates all these disturbances, yeah, with airplanes flying by or sirens or other human sounds, it is something that I still prefer. Why is that? What do you think? So those were a lot of questions in one question. Who of you feels this? And what does this feel like for you when you maybe feel something like you're deprived of nature connection? Does anybody ever feel this? Like, I need to go out, I need to connect with nature more. Thank you, Matthew, for sharing this beautiful picture. This is your sunset, I suppose. Where are you located? Yes, yes, on nature. You're listening under the sky. You're in South Africa. What a beautiful connection we can make with you and South Africa right now. Yeah, where we're sitting in completely different places. Thank you for sharing that, Matthew. If you have some giraffes or tigers walk by, that would be even cooler. No, I'm just kidding. This is what people think of when they think of South Africa, even though it's not actually South Africa. I understand that. Those of you who are sitting in nature right now with your phone, please follow Matthew's example and send us a picture of what you are seeing right now, of what you are connecting with right now. Yeah, so what does connecting with nature do to us, guys? Beautiful, Annette. What are we looking at? Oh, this was last weekend. What are we looking at? What country are you joining us from? What kind of nature is this? So as we are looking at these pictures that people send here from their nature that surrounds them, keep thinking about what connecting with nature does for you. Linda, beautiful. Is this what you grew indoors? Where are you living? Where are you posting from? Hopefully growing. Yes, you started the seeds. Looks very healthy. They look very happy. Alberta, Canada. Yes, it's still cold for you guys, so you have to bring nature indoors, at least for some months of the year, in order to make it grow. Yeah, what does connecting nature do for us? Who wants to share? Keep posting, guys. It's beautiful.
Well, I will share, Jona.
Hey there. Who am I talking to?
This is Tina.
Hi, Tina.
Hi. I'll tell you that when I connect with, for example, the flowers in my tiny, tiny garden, and I'm just focused and concentrated on that, I am in a beautiful space in my head. And my ego is quiet, and my thoughts are gone, and it's a beautiful space to be. That's how I'll put it.
Sounds like magic. Sounds like magic. Sounds like there is a big shift that happens in you.
Yeah.
That you can...
And it's so accessible. Just do it. I just do it.
Thank you for your tip. This is obviously, the whole message of this talk is just go do it. Okay. All right? You don't need to understand all this stuff that is going on. Just go do it. All right? It will help. Yeah, so nature's RX. Yeah, there's a lot of research, obviously, about this, and I could go on about this, but I want to emphasize the connecting part today and not so much the scientific part. I have workshops within that sacred self-healing community where I've talked about those kind of connections that take place in our brain, that take place in our nervous system, in our energy body. The only thing that I really want to point out here, besides go do it, it will work, is that this is a part in us, all right, that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be cultivated. Yes, and those are the reasons you feel connected to the present moment. It does something to your present moment awareness. Or like Tina just shared, it just helps her to get out of her ego mind in that moment, even if it's just for as long as you're focusing on nature or connecting with nature. But that's a remedy, guys, that you can use this. You can use this as a tool when you feel too wrapped up in your mind. Matthew's sharing, it brings peace, the ability to just be and engage fully in the moment. Yes. Cindy's sharing, it's super grounding. Yeah. Grounding is something that is a bit of a woo-woo word where people can get a little confused. Cindy, would you like to elaborate on what grounding feels like? This is energy talk, right? This is where we want to put words to the things that we feel. Yeah, and this is also basically the reason why we want to spend a little more time with investigating what connecting does, because it engages the feeling part in us, and feeling not to be confused with emoting. Yeah, so emotions are, I'm looking at the kitty. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, so connecting with the animals is going to be a separate energy talk, guys, because that's even higher up there. Okay, but yes, it feels like truth. I love that. There we go. It's a feeling. Yeah, so obviously when you hear somebody say it feels like truth, well, then the mind immediately says, well, how do I know that it's true, right? And this is where, the energy talk can help us a little bit, because we have already discovered here that just because something is real or something looks real or we perceive something as real doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So there is a qualitative difference between real and true. And this is the one that any spiritual seeker or energetically sensitive, for that matter. Yeah, so being energetically sensitive just means that there is a trigger in you, an impulse in you to regard the world and yourself as a different, or sort of in a more augmented way, namely not just from that materialistic 3D perspective, but also from the perspective of, let's say, we call this energetic for diplomatic reasons, yeah, but from an energetic soul level, so to speak, yeah, something that you perceive from within a different perspective within yourself, yeah. So the energetic perspective is often, yeah, also referred to as the soul perspective, yeah. That's how your soul, your whole entire being feels about something, and that's where the distinction between real and true comes in, because just because something, say, is rational, just because something is real, okay, doesn't necessarily mean that it is true, all right? Or just because something can be proven still doesn't mean that it's true. So there is a truth that we feel within ourselves, and that truth is basically what we call wisdom. This is what we are looking for when we are thinking about the secrets of life, when we are trying to tune in to the deeper aspects of ourselves, relationship, and the world, and our relationship with the world. We are entering a different part of ourselves, and that part is not just linked to our rational and cognitive function. It is linked to a part of us that, you know, some call heart consciousness. I call it heart mind, yeah, mental heart, think, feeling. There's many different ways that it can be called without, you know, bringing in any kind of religious or New Age connotation. It is something that we can all experience, that we can all witness in ourselves. It is something that links us into divine wisdom, yeah, like the wisdom that exists here in this universe, yeah, without just reducing our perspective to the 3D. Yeah, so when you talk to an astrophysicist or a physicist, they will always say this and this law is valid based on, yeah, let's say the laws that we have here on this planet Earth. Why? Because there are other conditions and other physical laws on other planets, on other systems, in different solar systems, in different galaxies. So looking at things from the perspective of what is real, what is 3D, yeah, isn't necessarily untrue, but it has a limited validity. Yeah, it is only real, yeah, or it is only true here under these circumstances. Truth, or what we can connect with from this deeper inner level, yeah, that we feel is true from, let's say, a first principle perspective, that is always true. Yeah, for example, that the universe expands, that it has a tendency to grow, yeah, that everything that surrounds us, in fact, has a tendency to evolve, yeah, and to improve itself, evolution. It doesn't have to be in controversy with creation, yeah. All of what we are perceiving here in this world is or has been created in some way. Yeah, but there's one truth that we can all agree on, and that is that it appears to constantly improving, to constantly evolve. Yeah? So what we call evolution, not in the scientific sense, but in the sense of constant improvement, can be felt as truth. We may not understand or know or be informed about the intricacies of that, yeah, depending on the system that we're looking at, how things grow, how things evolve. But when it comes to us as a being, as a soul being, yeah, that is here in 3D, we are the authority of this, aren't we? Yeah, so if you go out in nature and you feel that nature does something to you, you are the authority in that. You are the one that determines what is true to you. And this is not meant as a relative statement. Yeah, what is true to you doesn't have to be true to me. No, 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 no. You guys getting things mixed up here. This has to do with what feels true to you. And if we are coming together and we're talking about those things that feel true to most of us, regardless of our ethnic background, of our gender, of our religion, yeah, now we're talking about some of the truths, yeah, of human being. Yeah, so there are some things that are true for all of us. What are those things? Sounds like a bit of a tangent here, but it's not. It's important to understand that. What are the things that are true for all of us humans? What do we all desire? What do we all want? What do we all go for? What is the strongest impulse in us? Love. Mm-hmm. Love, yeah, the desire to love, to be connected, to have a relationship with our environment, with people, to interact, is true for all humans. What else? There's more. The desire for wisdom, that is a desire to understand and to feel truth. Yes. How do we know that it's true for all humans? Well, it's easy. Look into world literature, look into cave drawings. Yeah, this has been with us humans for as long as we exist. The search for love, the search for truth, and what else? There is one more. One of the biggest impulses that we are experiencing in these current days, right now. Freedom. Yes. You guys are good. The impulse to become independent, to explore freely, to expand into the world without restriction. Mm-hmm. Those are absolute truths, guys. And when we are connecting with nature, we can see it in front of our own eyes. We can see that it's possible. Because nature lives or thrives, exists based on those principles. Now, it is difficult to say how love expresses in nature, but there are different sort of subgroups of love. For example, beauty. Yeah? Beauty is something that is also inherent in all us humans. Yeah? The ability to perceive beauty. And obviously science has gone above and beyond to analyze what is perceived as beauty. I don't want to go into this, because when it comes to nature, we all feel it. Also abundance, yeah, affluence. Like looking at a whole field, or looking at the sky, or looking at a forest, or looking at the ocean. Those are pictures that allow us to understand abundance. And when it comes to connecting with nature, it being so abundantly available in our life, it teaches us something. Namely, something that Tina mentioned here right at the beginning. It's always there. Yes, maybe some of you have to drive or walk a little bit to get into undisturbed nature or somewhat undisturbed nature. But even looking at pictures of nature can do this to us. Did you know this? Yeah. There are videos on YouTube that do nothing but showing waterfalls or ocean waves or skies. Yeah? And they have millions of views because it does something to us. It's obviously more potent, it's more intense when you actually immerse yourself into nature. And this is the part here that, or where it gets interesting, guys. Nature is our role model. Nature is our example, okay? And when it comes to role models and examples in our practical 3D life, well, there's a little bit of a problem there, right? When it comes to deeper connecting, when it comes to growth, when it comes to truth, when it comes to love, and when it comes to freedom. Which is why, yeah, going out into nature can lead to a shift in us, because we are now seeing that it is possible. Yeah, it fundamentally gives us hope and courage. That's why all people who are energetically sensitive ultimately seek connection with nature, because we yearn for this. But when it comes to, actually cultivating it, that's where many of us draw a little bit of a blank. We think it has to be in a certain way. We think it has to, we have to go on vacation in order to connect with nature, or we have to, it has to be in a certain form. And right here, guys, it's important that you understand that when it comes to really working with your higher consciousness and working with divine wisdom, yeah, you carry this with you. You don't have to go anywhere. It's not a having, getting, or owning. It is a shift in your own awareness. And that shift, that Tina mentioned, is a shift from a pure 3D ego perspective to a perspective that allows you to link in with your feeling aspect. Yeah, with the part of you that doesn't just see things with your 5 senses, yeah, or, can touch things, but also something that actually feels or is felt in your whole being. And that's what we call the energy body, yeah, or the energetic being in you. It is something that is not just 3D. And that's why we encourage ourselves and others to connect with nature more, not necessarily based on any kind of form. It doesn't actually matter with what kind of nature, whether it's ocean or forest or waterfalls. Those are things that also have to do with your personal preference. It doesn't matter what form. It only matters that you do it. And if you live, say, in a place where climate is a problem, where going outside is, too cold or too hot at certain times of the year, then obviously the recommendation is to bring it into your home. And when you connect with nature, and this is a very, very interesting field of research, so interesting to someone like me that I'm literally having thoughts that if I was 25 again, I would go back to college just for that kind of research. Yeah. Bioenergy, how plants communicate with another, how plants communicate with humans. So beyond just this energy shift is more, guys. There is a communication that happens. That is also something that we can feel. And this communication can happen on many, many different levels. Easiest one, nutrition. When you eat a plant, also when you eat animal products, but we're focusing on plants here right now, you are ingesting that information, and some of that information is purely chemical, biochemical, enzymes, minerals, vitamins, and so forth. macronutrients. This is also information that you are putting into your body, and depending on whether it's a strawberry or a blueberry or a tomato, you get different information into your body. And there is quite a bit of evidence right now that this information isn't just on a 3D physical or chemical level. This information operates also on the energetic level. So there is something that it does to us etherically, because we are connecting with nature through ingesting it. In other words, food is much more important than just on a micro or macro nutrient level. It's also energy. It's also life force that we are bringing into our body, which is the reason why energetically sensitive people find out that it is a lot more conducive for you to eat unprocessed foods, life foods, best picked by yourself, grown by yourself. There is another level to that, and that is that plants communicate with us also on a DNA level, guys. This is, all right, if you grow a plant and you talk with your plant and you water it and you love it and you put a little bit of you into the water that you give it, like say you spit into the water, the watering can that you use, the plant will ingest your DNA and change. Now, hold tight to your seat. Change its composition of nutrients according to your DNA. Not just when you ingest it, also through the fragrance, the pheromones, and so forth. So what you need to understand is that there is not something, sort of subjective to it. There's a lot of objective aspects to connecting with plants, to ingesting plants, and cultivating your relationship with plants that goes way beyond what our ego mind and current science understands. There's a lot of research because it is known that there is an energy transfer, that there is an information transfer between humans and plants. And those of you who are familiar with concepts such as permaculture or some of the Rudolf Steiner concepts, you are already way ahead of time, because this is literally where all this is going. We will, in the years to come here, not too many years, discover the true power of plants and our relationship with plants as part of the secrets of human life. Now that said, if we look into the bigger aspect of nature, the planet itself, and some of the current issues, with climate change, or the current state of our environment, it puts a whole different light on that. We all know that, yes, there's a lot of plants that get extinct. I think it's 30,000 different plant species get extinct every year. Sounds horrific. But there's also a lot of evidence that shows that there's a lot of evolution taking place at the same time. So yes, there is a constant adaptation, a constant growth. And sometimes it means that we lose some species that are no longer adapted enough. And yes, sometimes if we interfere too much, as we do as humans, we're aware of this, we're offsetting the balance and the rhythms. But when it comes to really working with the planet, that we so lovingly call Gaia Sophia, as the vehicle, the container of the wisdom of nature. And we look at it as a being itself, such as the research of Rupert Sheldrake, for example, suggests. and Rudolf Steiner as well, to look at the planet as an organism and not as a rock with some, organisms and plants and minerals sort of on its surface. Then you begin to understand that there is an even deeper level of this connection. And that perhaps the planet responds to us as well, to our feelings. And so when we do, for example, connecting with our true self, there's always a part that refers to the planet, that refers to Gaia, that we accept Gaia's evolution. Those are really, really deep codes. They speak to your soul, because your soul knows that. Your soul knows that the planet itself is a spirit being as well. It's a different hierarchy of spirit being, but it is a spirit being. In other words, there is a connection and a communication possible with the planet that goes way beyond the 3D. So for all of you who are concerned about this planet, the health of this planet and the ability of this planet to provide this abundance for us, this is really the culmination of understanding the deeper soul connection with nature. I recommend that you cultivate your relationship with the planet every day, and that you ask it what it needs. This whole politicizing of climate change and so forth, and the causes and so forth, is rather irrelevant if you look at it from an energetic point of view. If we enter into an energetic connection with a being, be it in form of the planet, be it in form of a butterfly, a waterfall, or a plant, or an animal, or a child, or a loved one, we are connecting on the soul level as well. And that requires different rules of engagement. It requires a more respectful, a more sacred understanding that this other being that we are connecting with operates on those same principles that we do: truth, love, and freedom. That's a big one, guys. It takes out all ego principles of having, owning, getting, or controlling. It puts a whole different perspective on love altogether and relationships. Can we control another person? Can we make another person love us? Can we make nature connect with us? Can we discover the secrets of nature by learning a certain program or technique? Sure, you can learn techniques, but in order to truly connect with nature, you're going to have to involve your soul being. And in order to involve your soul being, you're going to have to get out of your ego being, because that's way too restricted and too disrespectful, frankly. Yes. Tina, that's a very beautiful thought. Grass is growing in some of my plants, and I just thought maybe they will or can thrive together. Now, there are some rules of engagement among plant species as well. So some plants are invasive, some plants are parasitic, and some plants are conducive. That would be something that you may have to ask a biologist or can look up on Google. Which plants go well together? Which plants thrive together? Again, as you are researching that, you are tapping into the deeper nature of that plant. Like understand the plant, what the plant needs and what the other plant needs, and if there is a synergy possible. So many of us try to make relationships with people that don't actually harmonize with us, that are not synergetic. They are maybe symbiotic in some cases, but for the most part, They're toxic. And there are toxic plants out there, plants that are toxic for other plants. And there are plants out there that are toxic if we ingest them, but maybe their fragrance is healing, or their etheric oils, yeah, that we can capture when we make an infusion or drink a tea of it. Then there are plants who are toxic only in a certain doses, but ingested in a small doses become extremely healing. They become like plant medicine. These are all things that need to be considered. The same applies to connecting with animals and connecting with humans. It has to do with the sacredness of each being's purpose. Yeah, a tiger is a predator. A tiger's purpose is to represent one of the highest levels of predatorial mammals. Yeah, basically maintaining the balance among prey animals by taking out the weak, the sick. It is in the tiger's nature to eat other mammals. And no matter how much we want it, or we think it's cute, or it's awesome to have a tiger as a pet, we cannot blame the tiger for being a predator. It is in its nature. Okay? Now, does it mean that, we shouldn't be rescuing big cats? Just as an example, that we should stay out of this, that we should not interfere? Well, obviously, if an animal has been taken out of its natural environment, yeah, and has been put in contact with humans, there is something that changes for that being. Yeah, it is no longer linked to that soul group that it belongs to. Yeah, its karma has changed. And therefore, sometimes it is necessary to interfere, but not by humanizing the animal. We cannot humanize any animal, guys, because none of the animals and none of the plants are humans. They have a different purpose. They have a different divine nature. So don't get me wrong here. I'm not talking about personifying plants. Yeah, there is rules of engagement with that as well. Yeah, and a lot of that connecting with nature on a deeper level occurs through thoughts, occurs through your breath, and through your inner alignment. Things that have nothing to do with 3D. And those of you who are interested in the scientific aspect, there is also a level on which we interact with nature that has to do with the elements. There is a lot of information stored in the elements as well. Yeah, water, air, fire, and earth. Those are spirit beings as well, even lower in hierarchy than plants. Yeah. And slightly lower than minerals. And when we connect with water, for example, considering that most plants and most humans consist of anywhere from 60 to 70 or 87% of water, you can imagine that there is a part in this connection, yeah, that is not just how we think it is. It is more complex, yeah, because the water that we ingest, for example, influences our life force. So the quality of water that a plant ingests influences the energy of the plant, and therefore its ability to connect, or its ability to express all these things that we've mentioned earlier. And I could go on and on, all the way to the crystalline structure. Yeah, that's the chemist in me that understands these things really well. When you begin to realize the magnificence and the miracle of nature, and how it is way above our ego mind's pay grade, which is another reason to not trying to look at it as a 3D connection, but as a soul connection that allows you, and helps to cultivate this part of you by using nature as your example, by practicing with nature, by starting there. And as you go, and we will discuss this next Wednesday, you will see that this part of you begins to see others differently. You begin to see animals differently. You begin to see other humans differently. So when we talk about connecting with animals next week, I will again make the references to all our relationships, inner and outer. So with that, I would like to leave it and close here and just inspire you to look at what connecting with nature can do for you beyond what your ego mind can imagine. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for these beautiful posts from the nature that surrounds you. And I love all your posts. Keep posting or commenting here if you're watching this on YouTube. Those are all things that we practice in the Sacred Self-Healing course. That's a big part of self-healing, to understand the deeper aspects of connecting with nature. I love you guys. See you on Friday for the energy update. Bye-bye. Welcome to our Only Life workshop this year in Iceland. And we will get inspired, learn how to overcome our old ways and learn new ways. Join us to this only in-person energy healing and training seminar in Iceland this year. Learn from us how to test and discern truth and its dualities. Explore how to implement conscious awakening into the physical. See how it's done. And even if you just want to come to Iceland to explore this magnificent island, the midnight sun, the waterfalls, the geysers, or stop by while traveling to Europe or to the United States, then check this out. Either way, we're going to have an unforgettable experience together, spending 24-hour daylight in one of the most sacred places on this planet. Tickets and registration is now online. You can plan your summer vacation with us in June in Iceland.